Hey y'all, we got a lot of questions this week. Don't know if I'm gonna get through them all, but I'm gonna try. Last week I procrastinated and I couldn't post the video until after the episode, but I promised I was not gonna do that this week because there's just too much to get through. So let's get into it. Kiss, marry, kill, Coach Jonathan Q. Oh my God, why would y'all do this to me? Kiss, Jonathan, marry, Q, kill, Coach. How long did it take them to finish the puzzle? Please tell me it was like an hour. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like it was way too long, and all I kept thinking in my head the entire time was, I wish Camilla was here to finish this puzzle because we're about to freaking lose. It was painful to watch. Tiff, I low-key ship you and Jonathan. No. And for many reasons, no, but also Jonathan has a girlfriend. So y'all just go ahead and get that out your head right now. Please do a YouTube video with Kenzie, I beg. Fingers crossed. Kenzie is, she has a lot going on right now. She's about to have a baby. So maybe perhaps I can go and visit my good sister once she has her second baby and gets settled in. How do you know whom to trust in real life and also in Survivor? I think in both situations, you trust people not based on what they say, but what they show you. How annoying was it listening to Coach and his haikus? I don't feel like I heard a lot of his haikus. Coach talked a bunch, but I don't even think I was around for the haiku nonsense. I was too busy doing other things, more important things. Girl, tell me your fave games. I saw the Breath of the Wild plug at Tribal. In the interest of getting through the questions, I'm not going to get to that one. I did touch on some of my favorite games in the last YouTube video, though. Was Coach your ideal target for that Tribal? If not, who was? Coach was definitely my ideal target just because he pissed me off throughout that entire day. But if not Coach, Chrissy or Jonathan, any of the people that had made me mad up until that point was fine with me. But Coach was my ideal target. Which intro scene do you like better? Why? 46 or 50? I think 50 because I feel like it just gives you so much more. And I feel like I look really badass in the 50 trailer. And I feel like I do like a really cute, like smile and reach thing. Yeah, I just overall like the way I look better in the 50 trailer, aside from the fact that it's just iconic. Where's your head at strategically following the Devo? Love you, Queen. Love you more. And I think strategically, my head is just focused on the day ahead. In Survivor, and I learned this the hard way playing on 46, you can't worry 3 or 4 steps down the line. You just have to worry about getting through that day. And for me, it was just important to get to the next day. Are you gonna get Coach the F up out of this game or what? I hope so. You're gonna have to tune in to see, girl. This is a really good question. How do you maintain sanity while being surrounded by such annoying and self-righteous men? I think that I've had a lot of practice as a woman navigating a patriarchal society. I think that that's something that I deal with every day. And one thing I've learned is that sometimes you have to sit back and wait for your moment. And particularly on season 50, I think it wasn't for lack of annoyance or it wasn't for lack of me wanting to go crazy, but I knew that the consequences of me going crazy or me expressing how I really felt would only paint me as the crazy one or paint me as the one who couldn't control her emotions or the one who was doing too much. So I felt like in this situation, it was better to let these men show all the rest of these people who they truly were through their actions. Because at the end of the day, you don't get on Survivor 50 by being a dummy. And I knew I was out there with a lot of intelligent people and a lot of people that would pick up what I was putting down eventually without me having to shout it from the rooftops. So unfortunately, sometimes the best reaction to people like that is no reaction. If you weren't on this season, who'd be your winner pick? You're my winner pick. I love you so much, girl. Oh, you're so sweet. If I wasn't on this season, my winner pick would be Cirie because I feel like she is more than deserving and she is, in my opinion, the best to never win. Did political views ever get involved when deciding who to work with? It's all over Twitter. Ironically, no. That's really not something that was ever brought up or discussed. And to be honest, most of that stuff I didn't even become aware of until after I got home. I found out on Twitter just like y'all. Do you and Coach still talk? Yes, we do. Funny story, when we watched last week's episode, Coach and I were actually in the same room at Ben's watch party, and it was just a wee bit awkward when I told that man about himself in my confessional and he was standing 5 feet away from me. What's your favorite movie and song? My favorite movie is Love and Basketball, and my favorite song is I Like by Guy. At what point did you realize the misdirected anger of voting Charlie out? You three did it to him. I have no idea what that question even means. I don't know who you three are. And I was actually excited to work with Charlie. I had no plans on getting Charlie out. So I was shocked when I learned that he went home. And I don't know what you're talking about, babe. After Jeff explains challenges, how do you guys usually strategize for it, especially early? So usually Jeff will explain the challenge to everybody as a group. And then depending on if we're broken up into tribes, he'll walk us through the challenge individually, tribe by tribe. And everybody has an opportunity to ask Jeff questions, like if there's anything confusing or we don't understand. And then once we have the time to digest it, they give us like a couple minutes to strategize as a team, and then we usually get started. How did the Tiff versus Chrissy storyline start? On Kahlo, I guess. It really kind of started out of nowhere, and I don't know why, but I think Chrissy just didn't like the fact that Camilla D and I gravitated towards each other, because it was kind of like immediately out of the gate, at least my perception. Maybe she has a different perception of it, but out of the gate, Chrissy was like, those girls, we got to get those girls. And I'm like, you could be part of the girls too. But for whatever reason, she never wanted to be. So it's above me now. Which season did you find harder, 46 or 50? They were both hard for different reasons. 46 was difficult because you're basically walking through it blind. 50 is difficult because you're not playing with rookies. You kind of got to keep your head on a swivel and do the best that you can to use what you learned the first time you played. Some of these people played 4-5 times. So it's definitely not a walk in the park. And you can't really get over on people as easily as you can in a beginner season of Survivor. 50 was also difficult because I feel like there was a lot of like just going with the tides, because there were so many people. People were less willing to take the big move, make the big swing early on in the game. Like, it was almost like some people were immovable. I have so much respect for you sticking by D's side, even knowing it was a sinking ship. Of course, that was my girl. Like, one thing about me, I'm not to be bullied. And there's a lot of questions in here about whether or not I knew where the votes were going and who said what. So I'll just address it all in this answer. Number one, I knew where all the votes were going. I didn't know who wrote my name down. I knew I was catching votes. I knew they were putting the majority of votes on D, and I knew I was the backup plan. But they tried to get me to write D's name down. And one thing about me, you're not going to tell me what to do, especially not coming from Coach, the directive of Coach. Y'all want me to go along with what he's telling y'all when I know I'm the backup plan? I knew where the votes were going. I had an opportunity to write D. In fact, they tried to get me to write D's name down and put a heart next to it as some type of like show of like trust. It's like, if you want us to trust you and you want us to let you back in the inner circles, then you write her name down and put a heart next to it so we know it's yours. You're right. I'm doing whatever I want to. I don't care if I'm the only person writing Coach name down. He gonna catch a stray tonight. Is there any crew with you at night? If not, what happens in a medical emergency? There's crews with us at all time. There's actually like 2 crews. There's a day crew that's with us all day. And then when the sun sets, the day crew gets back on the boats, goes back to the mainland, and then the night crew sails in, and then they set up and they're with us all night. There's really no point in time where we don't have access to like producers, doctors, cameramen. Like, they would never leave us out there by ourselves. How do you deal with blindsides in real life? I think in real life, I deal with them the same way I dealt with them on Survivor. You handle what you can handle, and you do your best to let go of the things that you can't control, because every day is a new day. And the more you let the things that you didn't expect sour what you have coming down the pipeline, the longer you're going to sit in those blind sides. Sometimes they hurt, but at the end of the day, it's very important to consider, okay, what's my next move? I think the recovery is the most important part of being blindsided. How do y'all control not cussing on Survivor? I'd be saying B word, F word every second, giving everything. Oh, babe, I do not control cussing. I cussed so much. At one point, the producers were like, Tiffany, they actually said this to me and D, because we was just cussing away. They're like, Tiffany and D, we love y'all. Y'all are so funny. This is CBS. If you want us to be able to air anything you say, you have to stop cussing. So like, we had to make a conscious effort moving forward to stop cussing so much, but like, you literally don't. Sometimes you cuss and they choose to bleep it out, but if there's too much, then they just don't show it. Would you rather film another season of Survivor with the entire cast of 46 or 50? Ooh, I'd probably say 46. That was some top tier entertainment right there. It seemed like everyone was game to vote Coach off. Why didn't that pan out? You know what? Questions that need answers. I really was also confused because in my head, I'm like, why y'all letting this man tell y'all what to do? Weird. But what I think it came down to is it's early in the merge. Everybody wants to go with the majority. People just want to pull the safe vote. And usually when a name goes out there and there's a good enough reason behind it, as long as it's not their name, anybody's willing to latch onto it. I think at that point in the merge, everybody's still in the, well, as long as it's not me, even if the directive makes no sense and is coming from somebody who they don't actually want to listen to. What's it like having a full-time job and being on Survivor Plus promo? Ramifications, stipulations, question mark. I don't think my job really has anything to do with me being on Survivor or promo. Like, there's no crossover or no, like, there's nothing preventing one or the other, if that makes sense. I think the most interesting part of having a full-time job and being on Survivor is every once in a while, I'll get Slack messages from my coworkers like, did I just see you on Survivor last night? Or did you play Survivor? Are you the same girl that's on Survivor? So like, it's very interesting to have those conversations. And sometimes it's like a little weird to like go and work a full day at work and then come home and get ready to go to a Survivor watch party. It feels very like out of body, but I don't think one interferes with the other. Who from pre-merge would you have definitely wanted on the jury? Q. At this point in the game, what did you think was your top path to the end? At this point in the game, I don't even know if I could see my path to the end. I was just more so trying to focus on seeing my path to the next day because all my allies were getting sniped. People were listening to nonsense. And I'm just like, you know what? At this point, it doesn't make sense to try to preach sense to people. I just need to go with the flow and figure out how to get my name out of people's mouths. Your thoughts on Austin and Amanda? I love them. I think they are like so cute, so sweet, and they're my friends. UD and Camilla deserve another season without honor and integrity. I wholeheartedly agree. What was the first thing you ate after coming back home? I had lobster mac and cheese. What were your exact thoughts when both of your allies got eliminated back to back? I was sick to my stomach, and the only thing I could think was, I just have to focus on seeing tomorrow. That's it. If I could see tomorrow, then I'll figure out everything else along the way. Tiff, I hope you never told Emily nothing because this can't keep her mouth shut. Honestly, I don't think I told Emily anything. Not at this point in the game anyway. Did you have to pay rent in LA when you left them up for Survivor? Sure did. Sure did. Oh, and it pained me to have to pay and leave my apartment sitting empty. But unfortunately, landlords don't care about Survivor. How far away from camp is the water well? Does it vary from camp to camp? It definitely varies from camp to camp, but usually it's not like super far. A 2-3 minute walk max. Please tell me Coach is voted out. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you that at this point in the game because that would be a violation of my NDA. Do you want to get me in trouble with CBS? Who from 46, besides Q and Charlie, do you want to see play again? I feel like I've said this before, but I would love to see Hunter play again. I would love to see Tevin play again. And if she decided to, I feel like I would like to see Liz play again too. No, but for real, we need Tiffany interventions where you address the horrors caused by men in dating. Honestly, I'm not opposed to that. Your response to the cheating ex question was so good. I almost dumped my non-existent boyfriend. Good. Well, I hope you keep that response in mind if somebody ever decides to play in your face. Love your outfits we see you on Instagram, your t-shirt collection. Where do you mostly buy from? You know those like random t-shirt places in the mall? I'll go to like different kiosks, or sometimes I'll buy online. I've gotten a bunch of like my fun logo tees from Forever 21. Unfortunately, Forever 21 is not around no more, RIP. But usually just like random stores in the mall. How did you maintain your braids on the island? Oh, I didn't. My braids was raggedy. They were so dusty. I think for the most part, all I did was like rinse them in the ocean every now and again to get the mud and sand that was caked in them after challenges out. Love how you didn't hold back from letting your face do the talking. More eye rolls, please. I am not proud to say that that was involuntary. Sometimes my face speaks before my mouth does, and then I have to remember and reel it back in. But unfortunately, that was involuntary. Did you figure out who voted based on handwriting and tribal councils you went to? Yours is so neat. I didn't figure out who voted based on handwriting because at that point, that was only the second tribal council that I had ever been to, because my whole pre-merge experience, we never lost. So most of those handwritings I had never even seen before. And thank you for my nice penmanship compliment. Being an artist, I feel like it's very important to have nice handwriting. What's your favorite art piece or project that you've done? Two pieces that really stick out to mind. One is a piece that I did for a gallery that was in collaboration with Slam Magazine, which is a basketball magazine. And then one was like a 9-foot by 6-foot painting that I did live at a party in Brooklyn. It's a party called Everyday People. I finished a freaking 9-foot by 6-foot painting in one day. I didn't even know I could do that. It was something that I did for the first time, and I surprised myself. Favorite Chinese food that you did not get to have? Oh, dag, just draw the dagger in and twist it around. But anyways, my favorite Chinese food is probably a tie between shrimp and broccoli with garlic sauce and like those little fried crab sticks. I know it's like imitation crab, but I am so obsessed with them. What goes through your mind before a challenge? Most of the time, I just try to lock in. I try to center myself. I usually say a prayer. And most of the time, I just ask God to fill in the gaps, whether it be strength, intelligence, or putting something together where I lack. Did you think you were actually going home, or did you think you were safe? Well, I knew there was a possibility that I was going home because I already knew where the votes were going. I knew majority were going on D and a few were going on me. And I also knew that D planned on playing her shot in the dark, which I encouraged her to do because at the end of the day, why would she not? And I didn't want to play my shot in the dark because, again, I'm a gambler. I'm a risk taker. So I was like, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. Unfortunately, it just wasn't my time to go. Who wins? Give me final three. Now you know damn well. Off topic. Did you watch Love Island season 7? Did Taylor handle the Olandria situation right? I did not watch Love Island season 7 because they were filming at the same time that we filmed Survivor. So by the time I had gotten back, I felt like I had seen so many spoilers online, I didn't even want to go back and watch it. Banu, Coach, and Jonathan are in Final Tribal. Who are you casting the game-winning vote for? Jeff. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, I don't know. I think it would depend on who played the best game up until that point. And based on that 3 group of individuals, I really just can't tell you how things would shake out. Please share more of your silly side. You are really making me laugh this season. I'm honored. And I love being the funny girl, so hopefully I keep making you laugh. Is it hard getting to use no sunglasses on the island? My eyes hurt thinking about it. Yeah, it is, especially when you're in challenges and like you have to like look up or there's like sun beaming down in your face. You kind of just got to thug it out. In the moment, was there any resentment for Cirie Rizzo for not pushing for D to stay? No, actually, there wasn't any resentment there. I was genuinely confused that so many people went along with Coach's cockamamie plan, but also at the same time, I did understand. While my logic I felt made more sense with D being a winner and a big target, I did also understand that D is a winner. And some people just were scared and didn't want to give her the opportunity to go on a winning streak. So for people like Cirie and Rizzo, I don't think I had any like resentment towards them. Do you like Dora the Explorer? Yeah, I do. I actually used to love that show growing up. Which Mario character do you play as? Well, naturally, Princess Peach. How are you doing? I hope these edits don't discourage your gameplay. You're a joy to watch. I appreciate that comment. And no, it doesn't discourage me because at the end of the day, I know what happened out there. I lived it. So there's really nothing that I could see that's going to change my mind or my vision about how things happened out there. Sometimes it is unfortunate because I feel like the viewers don't always get the 360 picture of what's going on, which is another reason why I'm having so much joy doing these discussions with you guys, because I feel like I get to give y'all more of my perspective. But thank you, and I'm not discouraged. When you saw Chrissy saying you were eloquent and mature, were you offended? I can't say I was offended. I was definitely confused by the comment at first, but no, I wasn't offended. How come you were the split option? That is a wonderful question, and I didn't dive into that in my previous answer, but I think it was for two reasons. One, I think it's just because me and Dee were close, and I don't really know other than that. I will say this. Somebody definitely looked me in my eye and said, well, look at you. You're a strong competitor. You gotta, that's why people write you down. And I argued, I'm like, well, there are people here. Because at this point, I'm just like, if we're going based on like previous seasons and what y'all know of people, I haven't even won any individual immunity challenges in my previous season. What about me is so strong that makes me stand out over every other person on this island that I'm the biggest threat after Dee, who won her season? Makes you raise a couple eyebrows, don't it? Did you eventually make a burn book after finishing this season? No, but I definitely should have. Did you guys notice that Coach's haikus didn't even have the right syllables? I noticed that, but only after watching the episode. Not a question, but just wanted to let you know that all of Australia is hoping you win. And you know what? Tell all of Australia, I thank you and I love you and I can't wait to visit. After Survivor, has it changed how you trust people in your daily life? Not really, no, because at the end of the day, Survivor is a game. I know what I was signing up for, and we're competing for $1 million. I also like to give everybody the opportunity to give me a reason not to trust them before I actually distrust them. Is everyone targeting your allies, or am I making that up? What did you do to all of them? Child, I wish I knew, but yes, they literally are targeting all my allies. And I'm like, what did I do to deserve this? Girl, you cook so hard in your confessionals. I love you. Was it off the cuff? Yes, that was definitely off the top of the dome. And watching it back felt so satisfying. So I'm glad you guys appreciate it as much as I did. Was the burn book confessional your favorite that you gave out there? If I'm going to be honest with y'all, I just be chatting. I forgot that I even said that burn book thing. But watching it back so far, that has been my favorite confessional to date. If you went on the journey, do you think you'd do the challenge? Oh, I absolutely would have done it. And I would have came back with that advantage too. When there's a water challenge and Jeff says, swim out at the end, where do you swim to? So we're like out in the middle of the ocean, but there are boats. Like there are boats with producers waiting on them for each of us. And sometimes we're separated into tribes, or most of the time we just swim back to the boat with the producer that we came to the challenge in. You and Cirie are by far my two favorite players from 50. Man, I wish you aligned. At this point, Cirie and I are aligned. For whatever reason, they're just not showing y'all. Why does Emily talk so much? That baby cannot hold water. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if it's her strategy or if she just gets a thrill from like leaking secrets. I can't say that I'm too bothered by it because boy, it is entertaining to watch. I mean, it sucks that it ended up sending one of my biggest allies home, but it is funny to watch. Were you trusting of Emily at that point? What were your thoughts on her? No, I wasn't trusting of Emily at that point. I hadn't had too many conversations with her. And then after I heard from Dee that she leaked the whole comment to Rizzo, I was like, oh no, I gotta watch this girl. Who would you play with a blood versus water twist? I'd probably play with my dad. By the way, we are waiting on your video ranking the best logos of Survivor seasons. Love ya. You are right, and thank you for holding me accountable. I will do that. What were your thoughts at this point about Coach trying to boss everyone around? Were you aware? Yes, I was aware, painfully aware. And I was just shocked that everybody was going along with it. I'm like, yo, why are y'all listening to this man? And I tried to vocalize that to so many people. It was genuinely confusing to me and just a baffling experience. I felt like I was in the freaking Twilight Zone. Jeff kept calling your team purple. As an artist, I trust you. Was it purple or pink? It was like a magenta. I would not call it purple at all. It was like a magenta dark pink color. Why'd you get the same blowback as Camilla and D for the Charlie vote if you weren't there? That is an excellent question. One that I unfortunately still do not have the answer to this day. We didn't see much of you and Aubrey. Were you guys still tight at the merge? Yeah, we were. They only showed you guys like a small clip, but I remember when we first got back, Aubrey's, like, the information of her idol started floating around. So obviously one of the first things I wanted to do was let her know, like, girl, you got to get rid of that idol because they're on you. But also one of my main questions, and I'm glad they kind of showed Aubrey questioning this, was why is Aubrey's idol so much more scary than the other two idols that are floating around? Because those were also public information at that point as well. Did you know Dee was going to play her shot in the dark? Yes, I did. And I encouraged her to do so because she said she was going to go down fighting. And what else is there to do on a season like 50? You better fight. If there were no blood moon twist and just a normal merge, how would that affect things? That is a great question. And honestly, I feel like I don't know if Dee would have been the target, but I do think that that whole honesty and integrity link up probably still would have happened. And people probably still would have tried to find some easy vote to grab onto, but it probably would have been 10 times more chaotic. I love you. Black woman to black woman, how are you not ashy? Oh, that is an excellent question. And out there, we get access to sunscreen and hand sanitizer, obviously, to prevent diseases. And baby, I used to be slathering that sunscreen on me every single day like lotion. I was not playing around. How would you react if you were first on the jury? I would have been sick to my freaking stomach. Also, at the same time, I still would have been at least happy that I made the merge on such an iconic season. Who would win in a fight? Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol or Idolicia? Definitely Idolicia. In the moment, did you think Jonathan was being a jerk to Dee or staging an argument? Okay. So that whole argument between Dee and Jonathan, I did not even witness that. I was at camp. I was talking to Dee. I walked away for like freaking 5 minutes, and then I came back and all hell broke loose. And if I'm being totally honest with y'all, I still don't believe that Jonathan was just doing that to get a rise out of Dee. I think he just said that. I feel like it was a real and genuine argument, and then he kind of just went and talked trash in his confessional. But I do not think that that was intentional. Did you rehearse that Mean Girls quote? I absolutely did not rehearse that Mean Girls quote. I was so like fired up and just flying off the handle when I got back. That was just what came out. I don't know where it came from or why it came out that way. That was just me being me. Did you and Aubrey speak to each other before the D vote? Did she know and you didn't? We spoke to each other. We were talking to each other all day. I was talking to everybody all day. The D vote was not a secret. I was very much in on the information. I just decided to do what the hell I wanted to do. Do you know if when they did the live reunion, did the final three know who wins, and do you? I don't know if you're speaking about past live reunions or whatever, but I can tell you at this moment, right now, I do not know who wins season 50. Would you say you're happy with the season's outcome? I do not know the season outcome yet because Jeff has not announced the winner, and we will be finding out together at the live reunion. Do you play Fortnite? No, I don't. I've tried to play Fortnite before, but I just can't get into it. I don't know why. It's just not my cup of tea. How did you handle being the only one to vote coach? Honestly, I walked away from that tribal with my head held high because they tried to get me to vote D, and it absolutely wasn't happening because I felt like in that moment, like they were low key trying to push me around, and I was like, I got something for y'all. I don't care if I'm the only one to write that man's name down. He's getting his name written down tonight because you're not going to be going around and dragging my name up and down the beach without consequences. Even if that consequence is just my one little vote. I don't care. What got you into Survivor? I have been watching Survivor since I was in high school, and one of my closest friends, her name is Jessica, she used to watch with her mom, and I used to go over her house after school, and she is actually the person that put me on. So thanks, Jessica. When Jeff asks questions at Tribal, do you guys have time to rehearse your answers? No, everything at Tribal is one take, off the cuff. There's no rehearsals, there's no repeats. So everything y'all see is just straight off the dome. Why do you not follow Coach on Instagram? Honestly, I didn't even realize I wasn't following Coach on Instagram. I thought I was following everybody from the cast, but yeah, I wasn't aware. Why are Coach and Jonathan coming for you, even though you never betrayed them? I wish I knew. Maybe you can go and ask them questions in their inbox, and maybe you can find out that answer and come back and let me know. And then hopefully I can tell everybody else in the next video. And because I have probably been talking for a good 45 minutes, on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. And I'm going to say thank you guys for asking me so many questions. And I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place.